The Phoenix Suns winning Game 1 despite Luka Doncic scoring 45 points for the Dallas Mavericks. So it's all to play for in the second round or the semi-final of the series, and you can rest assured this will not be a clean sweep. It will most likely go to at least 6 games when it comes to this series, and may the best team win in terms of getting into the Western Conference Finals. That's on that note, I say welcome to today's edition of the show. I'm Samson Oloyede. Promises to be another exciting edition of the show. We'll have to start with some business news from the world of sports before we delve into the UEFA Champions League action we saw last night, which I'm sure most of you are expecting. But let's quickly start. It's all about football sports stories at this time, talking about the business aspect of things. Now, FIFA has named Algorand as its official blockchain sponsor ahead of the Qatar 2022 World Cup in a technical partnership that will inform the Web 3.0 strategy of football's governing body. The new deal will also see the blockchain firm become a regional supporter of the 2022 World Cup in North America and Europe, as well as an official sponsor of the 2023 Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand. Through the new partnership, Algorand will help FIFA develop its digital asset strategy for Web 3.0 in line with FIFA's sustainability goals. The Boston-based company will gain branding inventory across FIFA's assets as well as other promotional opportunities. And still talking sports business at this time, Liverpool Football Club is in talks to land a shirt sponsorship deal that could fetch a record $100 million per year starting with the 2023-2024 season. The Premier League's current deal with British bank Standard Chartered ends at the end of the 2022-2023 season. Standard Chartered originally paid Liverpool an estimated $25 million annually after it took over shirt sponsorship rights from Danish brewery group Carlsberg in 2010. Standard Chartered, which inked a 4-year $201 million extension in 2018, is reportedly in talks to extend their deal once again, though Liverpool are speaking to various companies in tech, finance, crypto, among others. Being the shirt sponsor of Liverpool, a club that is valued at $4.1 billion, stands to be a lucrative venture. The team, which has the best-selling shirt in all of football, projects shirt sales to surpass 2 million for the first time this season. And wrapping up sports business at this time, still talking about football, just as it seemed that Chelsea Football Club will finally get its new owner after a months-long sales process, a new complication has been introduced. Roman Abramovich may call in on his loans. While Abramovich has not asked for the $2 billion owed to him by the club, finalist bidders were made aware that he is reversing costs on a previous decision and wants to be repaid as part of the sale. The UK government froze Abramovich's assets, including Chelsea, after sanctioning him for his connections to Vladimir Putin. The UK has worked to ensure that the oligarch does not profit from the sale of the club. Now, the group led by the Los Angeles Dodgers, Lakers, and Sparks co-owner Todd Boehly and Clear Lake Capital is in exclusive negotiations for the club. Clear Lake would own a majority stake, while Boehly would own operational control. Should Boehly's group fail to secure the team, the other two finalists selected by the Rain Group, which is managing the sale, are expected to be the next under consideration. Those consortia are led by the British businessman Sir Martin Broughton and Boston Celtics owner Stephen Pagliuca. And that's about it when it comes to sports business news at this time. Let's talk about Skybet Championship. Bournemouth were in action yesterday night, and Bournemouth secured a 1-0 victory over Nottingham Forest to book their place in the Premier League next season. Now, it must be said that the clash was had high stakes in it in terms of Bournemouth being second placed and Nottingham Forest being the third place team in the championship standing. So it was all to play for Bournemouth. They needed to win to secure automatic promotion, while for Nottingham Forest they needed to win to be able to give themselves a chance to qualify automatically. But at the end of the day, it was Bournemouth who scored a late strike in there, more scoring in the 83rd minute to give Bournemouth a 1-0 victory over Nottingham Forest, and they finished second in terms of the championship behind Fulham. Remember, Fulham have already won the title It's what is a record one at that, with Alexandra Mitrovic scoring 43 goals in 45 games thus far for Fulham to get them through. So it was all about the second spot, which is the automatic place, and Bournemouth are now back in the Premier League. It must be said that it's a well-deserved one, and for Nottingham Forest, they will just have to settle for the playoff. The playoff is between the third place team down to the sixth place team, and that's the most lucrative, playoff format in the history of football. So Wembley is the destination. Nottingham Forest will have to participate in that, and sometimes football is unfair in terms of the third place team eventually winning the playoff to get promoted to the Premier League. But it's good to have Bournemouth back. The last time we had them in the Premier League, they were coached by Newcastle United's coach, talking about Eddie Hoare, and they played very good football, stayed in the Premier League for 5 seasons before they got relegated. So it's good to have Bournemouth back. 2 slots have been confirmed, Fulham and Bournemouth. Who gets the third one? We'll find out when the playoff is completed at Wembley. But in terms of relegation, we know that Norwich City have officially been relegated from the Premier League. So Fulham replaces Norwich City, and Bournemouth, are also into the Premier League. The remaining 2 teams that will be relegated from the Premier League are yet unknown. But in the coming days, there will be clarity if possibly Everton will be one of them, or you have Burnley, Leeds United, Watford in the mix as well. So there's also play for, but it's good news for Bournemouth. They're back in the Premier League. The Cherries will definitely play Premier League football next season. Now let's talk about the biggest one we had yesterday night. It is the money-spinning UEFA Champions League, and Liverpool were in action against Villarreal. What a thriller that was. 5-goal thriller, it must be said. Against all odds, Villarreal started the game brightly, took a 2-0 lead into the first half, and it seemed Liverpool were on the brink of having their quadruple bid destroyed. But, it had to take the likes of Luis Diaz, Fabinho, as well as Sadio Mane to put that on track. 5-2 on aggregate it ended, but it must be said that was a remarkable comeback from Liverpool Football Club, who had to weather the storm of a disjointed first 45 minutes to be able to get through. You had Bola Dia getting the goal within the 3rd minute. Villarreal starting so well, purposeful. For Liverpool, there were a bit of lapses in the defense line, and that just cost them the game. And towards the end of the first half, you had Francis Coquelin. That's the former Arsenal midfielder, rising higher than Trent Alexander-Arnold to nod in the second goal for Villarreal to ensure that they took a 2-0 lead. And it seemed like the tie was even. The tide had been turned around, but Liverpool were able to weather the storm. The introduction of Luis Diaz at halftime definitely sparked new life, as Diogo Jota had to make way for him, and the Colombian was definitely a thorn in the flesh for a thorn in the flesh for Villarreal, while for Liverpool it sparked the brilliant comeback. And you have to give credit to Thiago as well, who was stringing things from the middle of the park. Overall, you have to give credit to how Liverpool were able to respond to being under pressure. They had their backs pegged to the wall, 2 goals down at halftime, and what a second half they had. Sadio Mane wrapping things up. What a goal that was, rounding up the goalkeeper, rounding up the defender as well, to be able to slot that in. And for Sadio Mane, that strike was historic, because in the history of UEFA Champions League, when it comes to the knockout stages, he is the top highest scoring African. You had Didier Drogba on 14 goals alongside Sadio Mane prior to the match, but as a result of Mane's strike, he now sits atop of the list with 15 strikes when it comes to the knockout stages of the UEFA Champions League. Records breaking here and there, and what a season Mane is having. At the first half of the season, he struggled, but having triumphed with Senegal at the African Cup of Nations, is being rejuvenated. 9 goals in his last 7 games. Is playing out of his skin at this point in time. So for Liverpool, the quadruple bid lives on. Let's see if they can achieve what seems impossible at this time. They've won the Carabao Cup. They're in the finals of the Champions League. They're in the finals of the FA Cup, where they will take on Chelsea. And they're just a point behind Manchester City in the Premier League title race. It's all to play for. The win also ensured that Liverpool are the first English team ever to make the finals of the FA Cup, the EFL Cup, which is also known as the Carabao Cup, as well as the Champions League in one single season. It shows you how great Jurgen Klopp's men are, and the kind of amazing season they are having at this point in time. Let's see if they can wrap it up with more honors, more titles, and possibly the elusive quadruple, which no team in England has ever made. So it's Liverpool in the final. The final will take place at the Stade de Paris, I beg your pardon, in France on the 28th of May, and that's a date we all should watch out for. Now, still talking about the UEFA Champions League, let's talk about today's match. It's Manchester City against Real Madrid. The first leg last week had a 7-goal thriller with Manchester City edging that a bit, 4-3. This time around, it's Real Madrid who are at home at the Santiago Bernabeu, and it's all to play for. For Real Madrid, they have to come back to get this done. And they wrapped up the La Liga title, their 35th last weekend. So they're going into this with a bit of confidence and momentum that they can get things done once again. I'm sure Karim Benzema will be looked upon to get the goal scoring, feats across. But you would also have to look at likes of Casemiro, who is back, from injury. There's Luka Modric, who is aging like fine wine as well. For Manchester City, it's all about the pace. It's all about the youthfulness. Gabriel Jesus, Riyad Mahrez, you have Raheem Sterling. All of these players up front definitely gives something in terms of pace. And they will be looking to outrun, the midfield of, Real Madrid, who have the likes of Modric, who is in the 36, as I said, Casemiro as well, Toni Kroos, all in their 30s, while you have the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, Gundogan in the mix, and Rodri to make things happen. It's difficult to call this, but it must be said that if anything is to go by considering what we saw in the first leg, then this would be another high-scoring, game. Who makes it? It's difficult to tell, but whoever emerges winner, especially on aggregates, will go ahead to face Liverpool in the final. If Manchester City wins, then it means that they would have to play Liverpool again, who is like a thorn in their flesh. I'm so sure Pep Guardiola is not a big fan of Liverpool, considering how difficult they are to play against. But it's all to play for at the Santiago Bernabeu Stadium. Let's see if Real Madrid can turn the tide around, or Manchester City can make it two successive finals under Pep Guardiola. They were in the finals last year, lost by lone goal to Chelsea Football Club. This time around, Liverpool awaits whoever wins. If Manchester City makes it to the final again, it will also be the second successive all-English final we had, considering Chelsea and Manchester City played last time out. So let's see how that works.